I often, when we're trying to impress upon investors how important this movement is, what I usually say is, okay, listen to this, and listen to every word, because every word is important. Bitcoin is the first, global. That's really important, as Michael said. Private, now it's open source, but there's no government involvement. So private. So first, global, private, digital, rules-based monetary system in the history of the world. It is a very big idea. Yeah.
Any form of money moving at any frequency, instantly, anywhere in the world, over Bitcoin, right, is such a beautiful vision. Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin 2022 was the largest Bitcoin event in history, exploring the technological advancements, financial empowerment, and countercultural influence that surround this open-source technology. During this event, billionaire tech investors Cathie Wood and Michael Saylor explained why they believe the future is bright for Bitcoin adoption. Not only this, but Cathie Wood backed her view that Bitcoin will go to $1 million, and Michael Saylor said Biden has given the green light to Bitcoin. Also, PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel took aim at Warren Buffett for his criticism of Bitcoin. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, MicroStrategy CEO and Bitcoin enthusiast Michael Saylor talks about the overall tone he's hearing from Washington lately towards cryptocurrencies. Also, the prominent tech stock investor Cathie Wood explains why she still sees Bitcoin's price hitting $1 million in the next several years. Now, without wasting any time, let's dive right into the video.
You know, if I put away my macroeconomic hat and just think as a technologist, if you're a technical entrepreneur, if you're a venture capitalist, and if you're trying to figure out what's the next great thing, I think it has to involve lightning in somehow. And if I look at the industry, I think every crypto exchange, if they're going to remain viable and competitive, they need to build lightning into their exchange. And so I hope the people that run exchanges that don't have lightning are listening to my presentation. I think that the lesson that's being shown to all of us is if you want to be successful, then you adopt the Bitcoin standard. And the Bitcoin standard is you buy Bitcoin, you hold Bitcoin, you support the Bitcoin protocol, and then you support the layer 2 open source permissionless Lightning protocol so that your company can trade and transact with all of the other hundreds, soon to be thousands, soon to be hundreds of thousands of companies in this entire asset economy at the speed of light, friction-free.
Michael Saylor also remarked that he sees great tailwinds for Bitcoin Lightning Network adoption. The latter is a low-cost, open-source instant payment platform. He said that every tech entrepreneur, every exchange will have to include Lightning if it wants to be viable, complementing Block's Cash App and BitPay for driving adoption. Saylor remarked that the killer application for Lightning could be bringing stablecoins to the network. Recently, Lightning Labs raised $70 million to do just that.
Well, I agree with you on the Lightning Network. I was fascinated. We were studying the announcement this morning, and there's so much friction. There has been so much friction involved in the process that taking away some of that friction, whether it's direct deposit, you can put 2% of your paycheck into Bitcoin, or the idea that I don't need to know whether I'm on the Lightning Network or on the base layer. I can transact. I can become a part of this community and not have the friction. I think they're pulling a lot of the difficulty, complexity out. I've watched the number of Lightning channels. They're up to 84 to 90,000. That's nearly a triple over the last year. That's probably because of El Salvador. With this announcement, I think the number of channels is going to explode. The liquidity, we think, is going to go from, and I should say we, in the audience, we have Yassine Elmandra and Frank Downing, my secret weapons in terms of Bitcoin and everything crypto, for example. But we think that the liquidity, which has gone up tenfold in dollars, fourfold in Bitcoin over the last year, that's just a taste of what's going to happen now that Cash App is going to make this, make it so much easier to use the Lightning Network.
We're in a year, right, 2022, where people are going to start to realize that not supporting Lightning is like not supporting the internet, right? If you don't support Bitcoin, you don't support sound economics or integrity. But if you don't support Lightning, it's just kind of like cutting yourself off from the internet. And it's so much so that you start to think that I don't want to do business with a company that doesn't get on board with Lightning. Like, I got to find another vendor. And I'll tell you another exciting thing about Lightning. I'm really excited about the speed and transaction velocity. I'm excited about the interoperability everywhere in the world. I'm also excited about what Lightning Labs announced this week with their Taro protocol, because if we can move USD stablecoins at the speed of light over the Lightning Network, then I think the killer application in the world is going to be when 6 billion people, maybe 8 billion people, when your 3-year-old's got it. When 8 billion people run around with a mobile phone, with an Android or iOS app, and they've got a Lightning wallet, and that wallet has got some BTC in it as a store of value, and it's got some USD or Euro or CNY or whatever as a medium of exchange. And then you're going to see tens of trillions and then hundreds of trillions of dollars all moving on Lightning rails secured by the Bitcoin network. And then people are going to wake up and realize, holy crap, this stuff really is going to change the world. I'm interested in your perspective as an investor. How do you see the capital markets and their attitude toward Bitcoin today versus a year or 2 years ago?
Well, it's improved, but it's a long way from, being fully accepted, embraced, and so forth. What we're seeing with Bitcoin and traditional institutional investors is the same thing ARK is seeing about all of our strategies, associated with all of our strategies. They're very volatile. That's scary for institutional investors. There's no index. They're not in my index. So, this would be very risky to get involved. This is a new asset class, and we don't even know what the regulations are. So we're seeing a lot of pushback still that way. But as many of you may know, in our Big Ideas 2022, which is at ark-invest.com, we have a price target in 2030 for Bitcoin of more than $1 million per Bitcoin. And yeah, see, even you can't believe it. I expected a big roaring no, but and if you go in and you'll see how we build that case, we see institutional investors, all we expect over the next 8 years is that 2.5%, roughly 2.5% of assets, institutional assets, are allocated to Bitcoin. So we don't need a lot. And if it's more than that, and that's how institutional investors work, they tiptoe in. In the 70s, it was real estate. In the 80s, it was emerging markets, 80s and 90s. And now I think it's going to be crypto starting with Bitcoin. And that's very important, starting with Bitcoin, because they understand what it is and what it's not. It's not a securities.
Nice. I had a guy come to my house. I met his son, and the next day the son brought his father, and his father could buy the entire city of Miami. And he said, well, I don't know what's going on, but I know Bitcoin is really important, and my son says I got to sit down and listen. And so I orange pilled him for 2 hours. And I'm not going to say who because it's such a common story, but my point here is every one of you knows someone. Go tell a CEO, go tell your father, go tell your mother, go tell somebody that Bitcoin's going to change the world and they should figure out more about it, because the number one thing you can do is educate the world on Bitcoin and let people know they need to figure out Bitcoin. And every one of you does make a difference, because I would never get those meetings if it wasn't like someone that went and said, you got to pay attention. And my last point to you, you do not sell your Bitcoin. Thank you. Thank you.
On the technology side, Saylor and Wood sees a lot of potential for further growth by removing friction for customers. Making the process of trading and transacting with crypto more streamlined will bring in more customers. On the price side, Kathy Wood said that her fund ARK Invest is looking at a price target of $1 million for Bitcoin. So, do you think Bitcoin will hit $1 million per coin? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.